90 million cars sold across every continent every single year. Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, BMW, Ford, the names on every road, every highway, every parking lot on the planet. The average transaction price for a new vehicle globally is now near $50,000, up 30% since 2019, and the J.D. Power 2025 Vehicle Dependability Study just confirmed that 3-year-old vehicles are failing at the highest rate since 2009. Smart drivers on 6 continents did the math. The answer was a 20-year-old car. Here is the evidence. The industry spent a decade telling you that modern cars are better. They are, in some ways. And in the ways that actually cost you money, the ways that determine whether you end the month ahead or behind, they are categorically worse. Not as a feeling. As a documented, numbered, verifiable financial outcome that the industry has not wanted you to calculate. Start with the price. $48,699. That is the average transaction price for a new vehicle in the United States as of mid-2025, according to Cox Automotive and Kelley Blue Book. Not a luxury vehicle, the average. The Toyota, the Ford, the Honda that a family on every continent buys because they need transportation. That number peaked at $49,929 in December 2022 and has barely moved since. European buyers face equivalent pressure. The global new car market crossed $3 trillion annually, and the cost of entry has been engineered upward by 30% in 5 years. 30%? Not because the engine got 30% better, not because the metal got 30% thicker, because the car now comes loaded with screens, sensors, software layers, advanced driver assistance modules. Features that, in at least one documented case, the manufacturer tried to charge you for again after you already paid for the car. That case is not hypothetical. In July 2022, BMW launched a program called Functions on Demand in markets including the United Kingdom, Germany, and South Korea. The program offered heated seats, physically installed in the car at the factory, hardware already present, wiring already run to every seat, for $18 per month, $216 per year, to sit on warmth you already owned. BMW's own board member for sales and marketing, Peter Noda, later acknowledged that customers felt they were paying double. He said, "People feel they paid double." By September 2023, BMW suspended the heated seat subscription after global consumer backlash across 3 continents. But the architecture that made it possible did not disappear. It was reformatted. The seats moved to factory option pricing. Other features stayed behind software access layers. Mercedes-Benz offered a $1,200 per year subscription to unlock a 20 to 24% acceleration boost that the car's hardware was already physically capable of delivering. The motor could do it. The software said no until the annual payment cleared. This is what a $48,000 vehicle purchase is financing. Now the failure data that J.D. Power published in February 2025. The 2025 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study surveyed 34,175 original owners of 2022 model year vehicles after 3 years of ownership. Industry average, 202 problems per 100 vehicles, 12 worse than a year before, 6% higher than the previous year. The highest rate of failure recorded since 2009. Mass market brands drove the increase with a 16-problem jump attributed in significant part to software defects. The number one problem in the industry for 2 consecutive years, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connectivity, rising to 8.4 problems per 100 vehicles in 2025 from 6.3 the year before. Built-in Bluetooth, 4.6, onboard Wi-Fi, 2.4. Half of the top 10 problems industry-wide were tied to smartphone integration, usage, or connectivity. Not the engine, not the transmission, the part that controls whether your phone connects to your car. Automakers promoted over-the-air software updates as the solution. Here is what owners reported. 56% of owners who performed those updates said there was no noticeable improvement. The car downloaded the patch. The problem stayed. The update cannot fix a design decision made in 2022 when the manufacturer was navigating a global semiconductor shortage and trying to hit production targets with whatever chips cleared customs. The hardware shipped. The software followed later imperfectly with patches that more than half the owner base says changed nothing. Of the 27 new models launched in the 2022 model year, only 4 performed better than their segment average for long-term dependability. 23 out of 27 failed to meet the average. New launches from that year averaged 241 problems per 100 vehicles, 45 worse than carryover models that had been in production long enough to resolve their issues. You are spending $48,000 on a vehicle that, with documented frequency, fails in the first 3 years. The failure is not in the drivetrain the engineers spent decades refining. It is in the software stack that was written under supply chain pressure and shipped with a known connectivity problem that updates have not consistently fixed. Here is what that costs when it breaks. The AOA Foundation confirmed that advanced driver assistance system repairs, blind spot monitoring, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning hardware embedded in bumpers, windshields, and door mirrors run between $800 and $2,500 per incident before recalibration. Any collision that moves a bumper-mounted radar sensor requires full system recalibration before the vehicle is certified functional again. A windshield replacement on a car with a forward-facing camera is no longer a glass job. It is a camera recalibration event that routinely exceeds $1,000 on models with driver assist systems. Replacing an integrated infotainment unit on a modern vehicle runs between $1,200 and $4,000 because the unit is no longer a standalone component. It connects to climate control, audio, safety warnings, and backup camera feeds. The part costs what it costs because pulling it means reconfiguring everything it talks to. Repair costs across the major automotive markets, North America, Europe, South America, rose nearly 25% between 2022 and 2024, according to Consumer Affairs data drawn from Bureau of Labor Statistics reporting. The average repair visit in the United States costs $838 per Cox Automotive. The AOA calculated that average annual vehicle ownership costs, purchase amortized, insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, came to $12,182 per year. That is the number your $48,000 vehicle actually costs you to own over 12 months. In a market where the average household on every continent is absorbing decade-high food prices, energy costs, and housing pressure simultaneously, the car payment alone is generating default rates that lenders are actively tracking. There is a counter-argument that gets raised at this point. Safety. It is a real argument, and it deserves a direct answer. Modern vehicles have genuinely better passive safety. Crumple zones engineered with more computational precision, side curtain airbags that deploy in milliseconds, automatic emergency braking that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has confirmed reduces rear-end collisions. A 2005 Camry does not have the same crash energy management as a 2025 model. That gap is documented and real. But here is what the safety argument does not account for. The 2025 model is also the one logging 202 problems per 100 vehicles in its third year of ownership. The 2025 model is the one whose ADAS sensor goes out of calibration in a minor parking lot collision and then costs $2,000 to recertify. The 2025 model is the one whose over-the-air update 56% of owners report made no difference. Safety is not just what happens in a crash. It is also whether the vehicle's braking assist fires correctly when the forward camera is malfunctioning. That question is live in the JD Power data. It is not live in a 2006 Honda Accord with no forward camera and four-wheel disc brakes that any mechanic on the planet can inspect, service, and certify functional in 45 minutes. 60% of Americans, according to Empower research published in 2024, are specifically keeping their vehicles longer to save money. S&P Global Mobility confirmed in 2025 that the average age of a passenger car in active service is now 14 and a half years, up more than 2 full years since 2020. The market has already made the calculation. Drivers in Sao Paulo, Berlin, Warsaw, and Lagos are arriving at the same conclusion through the same arithmetic. The cost of the new vehicle is not justified by what the new vehicle reliably delivers, and a specific cohort, the mechanics, the engineers, the people who have watched what actually fails, made that calculation 20 years ago. There's a specific window of automotive engineering where this calculus breaks entirely in the buyer's favor, roughly 2002 through 2011. Fuel injection, electronic ignition, OBD2 standardized diagnostics, multi-link suspension geometry, everything needed for reliable transportation at highway speeds, in any weather, on any road surface on Earth. And none of the layers that are generating 202 failures per 100 vehicles in the 2025 dependability study. No subscription access layer, no integrated camera requiring dealer tool recalibration, no software stack written under chip shortage pressure, an engine diagnosable with a $40 generic scan tool available at any auto parts retailer from Sao Paulo to Warsaw to Lagos to Seoul, a transmission serviceable at any independent shop without a manufacturer's proprietary software license, a wiring harness any qualified mechanic on 6 continents can trace with a standard multimeter, the Toyota Camry. The 2.5-liter naturally aspirated inline-4 engine used in Camry models from 2002 through 2011 is one of the most documented long-life powertrains in global automotive history. Toyota's Camry wins a model-level award in the JD Power 2025 Dependability Study. That is the current generation. The platform those engines were refined from has a documented record of reaching 300,000 miles with standard oil changes and timing chain integrity. Statistically, Toyotas from this era have a 5 to 7% better chance of reaching 200,000 miles without a major repair than the industry average, according to documented long-term ownership data. RepairPal puts the average annual repair cost for a Toyota Camry from this era at $400 to $450 per year, against the $12,182 the Bus 888 annual ownership figure for the average new vehicle. A 2005 or 2007 Camry in maintained condition can be purchased today for $3,000 to $7,000 in most global markets. Paid in full, no financing, no interest accumulating on a 5-year loan at rates that have been climbing since 2022. The timing chain does not have a scheduled replacement interval. The ECU speaks standard OBD2. The head unit is a single DN component. No subscription required to access the heat. The Honda Accord, 3rd through 7th generation, 2003 through 2012. The J-Series V6, used in 5th and 6th generation Accords, is a timing chain engine, not a timing belt, a chain. Honda absorbed the manufacturing cost differential to specify a chain instead of a belt, which means the service department never collects the $400 to $900 belt replacement event that belt-equipped engines require every 60 to 80,000 miles. The chain lasts the life of the engine. Owner documentation of 250,000 to 300,000 miles on these engines without internal failure is verifiable in owner communities on every continent where these vehicles were sold. RepairPal rates the Honda Accord reliability at 4.5 out of 5, first out of 24 midsize cars, with an average annual repair cost of $400. The infotainment system on a 2006 Accord is a standalone head unit replaceable for under $200 at any electronics retailer globally. It does not connect to the airbag system. It does not interface with a camera that does not exist. When it fails, you remove it and install a replacement. The new unit works immediately, no recalibration, no dealer authorization. The Mazda 6, 1st and 2nd generation, 2003 through 2013, sold across 163 countries, available in every major market from Japan to Brazil to Germany to Poland. The 2.3-liter naturally aspirated engine paired with a conventional automatic or 6-speed manual. No continuously variable transmission failure modes, no turbo wastegate wear, no intercooler plumbing, developing boost leaks at altitude. Mazda ranked 2nd among all mass market brands in the J.D. Power 2025 dependability study with 161 problems per 100 vehicles. 41 better than the industry average. That result is for modern Mazdas. The engineering philosophy it reflects: conventional mechanical architecture, no subscription layers, no software-defined feature access, traces directly to the platform decisions made in this era. A 2007 Mazda 6 with 150,000 kilometers on the odometer is a vehicle any qualified mechanic on any continent can service without a proprietary scan tool, without a software license, without a dealer service appointment. Parts are stocked globally. The repair estimate takes 20 minutes. There's no connectivity problem that an over-the-air update is failing to fix. The financial position of someone driving one of these platforms right now looks like this. Purchase price, $4,000 to $8,000, paid outright. Insurance, liability coverage without the comprehensive premium that a $48,000 financed vehicle requires lenders to mandate as a loan condition. Annual repair cost, $400 to $800, documented. Fuel, identical per mile to a comparably sized modern naturally aspirated vehicle. Total annual cost of ownership, a fraction of the $12,000 BWA number. When the battery dies, the owner buys a replacement at any retailer on Earth for $80 to $150 and installs it with 2 bolts and a standard wrench. No camera recalibration, no dealer diagnostic session, no over-the-air update that 56% of owners say changes nothing. The money that does not go to the monthly payment, the comprehensive insurance premium, the infotainment replacement event, the ADS recalibration, that money stays. Volkswagen anchored the bottom of the J.D. Power 2025 dependability rankings at 285 problems per 100 vehicles. The common thread across the brands that failed to meet segment average was not the powertrain. The engine platforms that have been in continuous development for decades performed within documented tolerances. What failed was the software, the connectivity stack, the integrated technology that manufacturers shipped under semiconductor shortage conditions, updated via over-the-air patches that half the owner base reports produced no improvement and attempted to monetize through subscription access when the business model permitted. The engineers who designed the 2.5-liter Camry engine in the late 1990s were not building a financial defense mechanism for buyers 20 years later. They were engineering a powertrain that worked. Toyota absorbed the cost of the timing chain, the conventional transmission serviceable at any independent shop, the mechanical simplicity that required no proprietary software to diagnose. Honda specified a powertrain architecture that a mechanic in any country could open, inspect, and repair without manufacturer authorization or a software licensing agreement. Mazda built to a standard that ranked second in global dependability in 2025, without adding a single subscription, a single connected car data layer, or a single camera requiring recalibration every time a bumper absorbs impact. That engineering philosophy ended. The JD Power Data documents exactly when the departure became measurable. 2009 was the last time failure rates were this high, and the current numbers are moving in the wrong direction. The subscription contracts document why the departure was financially motivated. The $12,000 annual ownership figure documents who absorbs the cost of that departure. And the mechanics who watch these older platforms document 300,000 miles of reliable service, while 2022 model year vehicles fail connectivity diagnostics in year 3 confirmed all of it before anyone published a study about it. The most reliable vehicle on the road today may be the one that was built before reliability became a feature the manufacturer could sell back to the owner in monthly installments.